In this video, I'm going to talk you through how you can go about being heard via press releases. Now, press releases are old school, but they still work, and they're used by lots of big businesses and by politicians and by all sorts of people. So they are something that still works and they still work well. And the reason that they work well is because they are a win-win situation for everybody. You, the person sending out the press release, gets publicity and exposure, and the news organization, the newspaper, or the news website gets content. So you can see how it works well for everybody. Now, to be effective, your press release must be, first of all, interesting. It must be something that people are going to want to read about. And secondly, it must be news. It must not be a sales pitch. If you want your press release to be ignored, write it like you're going to write your web space, and then it'll go straight into the bin or straight into the spam folder. So it must be something that is newsworthy, not a sales pitch for your business or for your website. Now, your press release should follow this sort of a format. First of all, you need to tell people that it is a press release. So you put that right at the very top, that it is a press release. Then you want to have the time and the date that it is available to be published. You can have it for immediate release, which means, of course, that as soon as the news agency gets it, they can publish it right away. Or it can be embargoed until a particular date and time. And when it's embargoed, it means that the news agency is not allowed to publish it until after the particular date and time. Now, you might want to do that if, for example, you have a product launch coming up. Then obviously you wouldn't want the news to be released until after your product has gone live. Or if you're giving a news conference and you're going to give some of the details of things that you're going to say in the news conference, then you might not want that to be out into the public domain until you've actually had the opportunity to say it. So that's when you would embargo it until a particular date and time. Then you want your headline, and the headline needs to be both factual and attention grabbing. And realistically, you should try to keep it under 10 words if possible. So it's something that's going to grab the attention and it's something that's actually going to be factual. Then you want to put the location of the news release. Now, this is important if it's a local story, but it's also something that most news agencies like to see, even if it's something of national or world importance. Then they still do like to actually see a location. So you will put your town or city and your state or county and the country as well. Then you want the news story. And the news story needs to be written in a journalistic and a non-salesy way. And you want to break it up into paragraphs. Unless this is a particularly long story, you want to try to keep it all on one page, because obviously the whole idea of a press release is to get interest from the media. Although, I'll be honest, I have written press releases myself and then seen them printed almost word for word verbatim in newspapers. So you do have to bear in mind that a lot of times, especially if the press release is emailed, which it generally is these days, that a journalist is going to just simply copy and paste it straight from your press release into the publication. So you want to make sure that it is actually written in a journalistic way and that it's not a big sales pitch for your product or service or for your blog. If your press release exceeds more than one page, then be sure to put more at the bottom of the page so that the journalist will know that it continues on another page. You could also put page 1 of however many. Then you have the about, and this is basically a short background or a bio about the person or the organization that's mentioned in the press release. You should also make sure that it's spelled properly, unlike the one that I've done here. So you want to make sure that that's all done and that you have some information, some background information about yourself or your organization at the bottom of the press release. Then you want to have the contact details, And this should include the contact name, the address, phone numbers, email addresses, etc., so that they know that it is coming from a genuine source and they can track it back and check it out if need be. You also want to state if the contact is going to be available for interviews and if you can be interviewed in person or over the phone or via Skype or something like that. And then you want to specify that it is the end of the press release. You generally write end in capital letters and have it centered, or you can put 3 hashtags and have it centered. I've seen it done both ways. And this is pretty much the standard sort of format that you want to have for any type of press release. If you'd rather not write the press release yourself, there are lots of services out there, lots of people who will write press releases for you. If you just do a search in Google for press release writing service, you'll find that there are lots. Or you can look on a freelancing site like Upwork.com, and you can see there are lots of people here who also write press releases. Now, when it comes to distributing your press releases, there are several ways that you can do it. And the first and probably the easiest and the cheapest way in terms of monetary terms is to do it yourself. And if you are sending out a press release that's purely of local interest and you're just going to send it to your local newspaper or to your local TV station or to your local radio station, then it's fine to do it yourself because chances are it's not going to take you longer than, an afternoon or something. But if you want to have it distributed widely, then you really do need to have a press release distribution service. And if you do a search in Google, you'll find that there are lots. Do a search for press release distribution services. And it's better to use a press release distribution service, not just because it's going to save you time, but also because news organizations are going to be used to receiving emails from these distribution services. So they are more likely to open the email and read the press release than they would be if you just simply sent it to them. They might think that you were spamming them or something like that. There are free and paid for services. Personally, I'm a big believer in that you get what you pay for, so it's a good idea to actually pay to have your press release sent around rather than just simply rely on the free ones who'll probably just simply spam it. Now, of course, if your release gets picked up by a major publication or by a TV station or a TV network, well, frankly, the sky's the limit and you can get more publicity than you ever dreamed of. So there you go. That's how you can be heard via press releases.